The hum of electricity had always been my lullaby. For 15 years, I'd buried myself in the world of municipal grid substations, load balancers, smart meters piecing together the invisible arteries that kept cities alive. When I moved into Willow Creek, a postcard-perfect suburb with its emerald lawns and cookie-cutter homes, I wasn't looking for a fight. I wanted peace, a quiet corner where I could tinker with my solar panels, sip coffee on a patio powered by my own backup batteries, and maybe find a neighbor geeky enough to debate lithium-ion versus nickel-metal hydride over cold beer. Why I got instead was Vanessa Hargrove. Not just any Vanessa. The Vanessa. A woman who treated her HOA presidency like a DVYNE mandate and wielded the community bylaws like a guillotine. I met her on day 5, right after the delivery truck dropped off my solar array. She didn't knock. She didn't wave. She materialized on my doorstep, clipboard in hand, her heels clicking against the pavement like a metronome set to judgment. Her opening line wasn't "welcome" or "nice to meet you." It was, "Those panels VY OLATE Regulation 17.2, subsection reflective surfaces must be pre-approved." Her voice had the crisp edge of someone who'd rehearsed it in the mirror. I explained, calmly, that the city had greenlit the installation and that the panels were angled to be invisible from the street. She squinted at me like I'd insulted her lineage, muttered something about aesthetic integrity, and stormed off, her phone already pressed to her ear. That was our hello. Willow Creek wasn't my first rodeo with HOA nonsense. I'd done my homework before signing the mortgage papers. The neighborhood had charm tree-lined streets, a duck pond that shimmered at sunset, but it also had a rap sheet. Vanessa had ruled the HOA for 6 years, amassing a legacy of petty fines and power trips. One resident got slapped with a $200 penalty for a birdhouse deemed too whimsical. Another was forced to repaint their mailbox because taupe wasn't an approved shade. I'd built legal armor around my plans, permits, variances, even a letter from the utility company, but I underestimated Vanessa's knack for spite. The trouble started small. A week after the panels went up, I found a notice in my mailbox claiming my battery enclosure tucked neatly behind a row of azaleas disrupted the natural flow of the landscape. Then came the complaints about inverter noise, which I measured at a whisper-quiet 32 decibels. I play nice at first. I and Ted neighbors over for a solar 101 cookout, grilling burgers while explaining how the system worked. Most loved it. A retired electrician named Tom even asked for my help setting up his own rig. Vanessa didn't show, but her silver SUV circled the block twice, headlights glaring like a predator's eyes. Then came the first blackout. It hit and laid a freak storm that uprooted oaks and snapped power lines. The grid buckled, plunging Willow Creek into darkness. Except my house. My batteries kicked in seamlessly, lights glowing, fridge humming. I ran an extension cord to Mrs. Carter next door, a widow whose insulin needed refrigeration. Word spread fast. Neighbors knocked, shyly asking if I could charge a phone or power a fan. I became the block's unofficial lifeline. Vanessa, though, she was VYD. I heard through the grape VYNE she called an emergency HOA meeting without me, pitched a ban on unsightly energy structures. It didn't pass, thanks to a leaked audio where she called me a hippie tech freak with a superiority complex. The neighbors laughed it off. She didn't. Her next move was bolder. I've been pulling a late shift at a substation downtown, tweaking software after a surge fried half the county's relays. I got home at dusk, tired but wired, and noticed my gate ajar. My stomach tightened. The security cameras were offline cables, sliced clean. In the backyard, my battery array was a massacre. Casings bashed in, wires torn out, coolant pooling in the grass like blood. Someone had taken a crowbar to the inverter, VYing it a crumpled mess. 25 grand gone. I stood there, fists clenched, the air thick with the stench of vengeance. The police came, took photos, filed a report. They asked if I had enemies. I didn't say her name. Not yet. I could have gone straight to war lawyers, lawsuits, the works, but I'm not a brawler. I'm an engineer. I solve problems with precision. While sifting through the wreckage the next morning, I remembered something. A solar-powered bird cam I'd rigged up months ago, a side project to watch hawks nesting nearby. It wasn't tied to the main system, just a tiny lens perched on a trellis. I yanked the SD card, hands trembling, and plugged it into my laptop. The footage was grainy, rain-smeared, but unmistakable. Vanessa, in a hooded jacket, scaling my fence like a budget cat burglar. Behind her, her lanky son, Ethan, hauled a duffel bag. For 23 minutes, they demolished my setup, her swinging a tire iron, him jamming screws in vent ports, both giggling like it was a game. She even paused to pose with the crowbar, grinning like a super VY lane. I froze the frame, her face lit by smug triumph, and felt a cold, quiet thrill. She'd handed me a loaded gun. I didn't run to the cops. Not yet, because I had something better. Vanessa didn't know I'd spent 3 years designing Willow Creek's smart grid every meter, every node, every watt tracked in real time. I had legal access to non-personal usage data for communal properties, including the HOA clubhouse, a squat brick building she treated like her throne room. For months, I noticed odd spikes their industrial-grade power draws during weekday afternoons, far beyond what a coffee pot and fluorescent lights could explain. I chalked it up to a glitch. Now I dug deeper. The logs painted a picture. Hairdryer surges at 1 p.m., heating spikes at 3, a rhythm that screamed salon. Vanessa was running an unlicensed beauty shop out of the clubhouse, siphoning HOA funds to power it. Every kilowatt was time-stamped, every circuit mapped. She'd torched my batteries, but I was about to short-circuit her empire. I let her stew in her VY Tory. She strutted around Willow Creek, hosting tea parties for her HOA cronies, smirking at me over her hydrangeas. I waved back, all teeth and patience. Meanwhile, I compile my arsenal. The birdcam footage, power logs, thermal scans of the clubhouse, showing unauthorized wiring. I even found old Craigslist ads under a fake name, V's Cuts Va Curls, by appointment only linked to her cell number. The EVY Denke was a fortress. But I didn't strike yet. I wanted her to feel untouchable. The next storm hit in May, a beast of wind and thunder that knocked the grid offline for 12 hours. My rebuilt system smaller, temporarily lit my house like a beacon. Neighbors cheered. Vanessa seethed. The next day, a new violation notice arrived. My batteries caused psychological distress during outages by flaunting PRI-VY leg. I framed it on my wall. Then she struck again. I came home to find my gate unlatched, my cameras dark, and the temporary array. Smash same MO, same tire iron dents. The bird cam caught her again, this time with Ethan wielding a hammer. She thought she'd won. She was wrong. I launched my counterattack quietly. First, I started a blog, Suburban Shadows, anonymously posting tales of HOA tyranny. Residents flooded the inbox. Fines for kids' chalk art. Threats over untrimmed hedges. The site went VY RAL locally, 300 hits in a week. Vanessa raged, blaming a sweet old couple with a golden doodle. Then I tipped off a zoning buddy, sending him the clubhouse data without naming names. He flagged it for inspection unpermitted commercial use, fire hazards, the works. I didn't stop there. I rallied neighbors, casual chats over fences turning into a quiet rebellion. People were done with the rain. The knockout came at the HOA's summer soiree, her annual ego fest. Picture it. Pastel tablecloths, a hired cellist, Vanessa in a floral dress clutching a mic, droning about her VY shown. I'd RSVP'd, sipping iced tea in the back row when the power died. Fans stopped. The cellist faltered. Vanessa's voice cut off mid-sentence. She glared at the breaker box I designed, one I knew she'd tampered with to juice her salon. I'd tipped off the city that morning, and right on cue, a white van rolled up. 2 inspectors stepped out, badges gleaming. "We need to speak to the HOA president," one said. Vanessa went pale. The crowd murmured as they marched her to the clubhouse, peeling back her secrets. A sink rigged with hot water, shelves of dyes, a curling iron still warm. She stammered excuses, "It's just storage," but the data didn't lie. The fallout was swift. She emailed a leave of absence notice, but the damage was done. I sued her in small claims for the battery destruction, due law $30,000 with the second hit. The courtroom was a slaughter. I played the footage, submitted logs, called witnesses. She claimed I'd hacked her, faked the video, even tried throwing Ethan under the bus. He cracked, admitting she'd ordered it all. The judge ruled in my favor, tacking on punitive damages. A week later, the HOA voted her out 89-3. Her nameplate was pried off the door before the ink dried. Vanessa didn't go quietly. She filed a police report, accusing me of cyber sabotage. 2 cops showed up at dawn, but I handed them a binder contracts, approvals, proof my access was legit. They left with apologies. She sent a neighborhood email warning of tech vigilantes, but it only fueled the memes. Her house at the market a month later sold at a loss. I heard she moved to a condo in Tampa. Good riddance. But the story didn't end there. 6 months later, I took a contract in Pine Hollow, a ritzy suburb 30 miles out. Day 2, I spotted her new hair, same viniberating a mail carrier over a misdelivered box. She'd clawed her way onto their HOA board, already clutching a clipboard. I didn't flinch. I was installing their grid-smart, transparent, with public dashboards tracking every watt. If she tried her old tricks, the system would snitch. I walked away grinning, knowing I'd built her next cage without firing a shot. Back in Willow Creek, life bloomed. The new HOA greenlit solar projects, planted a community garden, even let kids paint murals on the clubhouse. I upgraded my system underground now. Untouchable and helped neighbors do the same. We weren't just free of Vanessa. We were better. Power isn't a title or a fine. It's knowing the wires, the rules, the truth, and using them to light the way. She'd never get that, but I did, and that's why I won. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.